Wow guys, this just keeps getting crazier and crazier. This is the summary. Last Wednesday's debate was clearly an equal but opposite reaction of the Biden-Trump debate. Equal because Pence continued to disrespect, interrupt, and ignore the moderator, and opposite because it was boring as shit. It was essentially the same debate as last week, except now there was no shouting. Well, except for me, because Pence wouldn't listen to the damn moderator.
There are no more hurricanes today than there were 100 years ago.
Thank you.
But many of the climate alarmists use hurricanes and wildfires to try and sell their bill of goods of a Green New Deal. He said it was hysterical. He said it was xenophobic. But President Trump has stood up to China. We're going to continue to stand strong.
Thank you, Vice President.
Under President Trump's leadership, we'll always stand with law enforcement, and we'll do what we've done from day one, and that is improve the lives of African Americans.
Thank you, Vice President.
Record unemployment. President Donald Trump not only respects but reveres all of those who serve in our armed forces, and any suggestion otherwise is ridiculous.
Thank you, Vice President.
You know, I don't think "thank you, Vice President Pence" is working. Maybe next time you'll try something different, something more like "shut the hell up." That's better. To be completely honest, the star of the show wasn't the moderator or the two candidates. It was something far, far smaller.
A fly stole the spotlight. It landed on Vice President Mike Pence's head and stayed there for about 2 minutes. Everyone but Pence seemed to notice.
The fly that landed on Mr. Pence's head and sat there for 2 minutes and 9 seconds.
I thought that the most effective being on that stage to go after Vice President Pence was that fly that landed on his head.
Who would have predicted a fly would steal the show?
What I find is so funny is the fly sat on Pence's head for 2 minutes. That's more time than Pence has ever spent with a woman alone who isn't mother. The US government, or in other words, actually, there's no other words. It's an absolute mess over there.
This morning, the COVID outbreak spreading through the White House has reached the Pentagon. And now almost the entire Joint Chiefs of Staff, including the military's most senior general, Mark Milley, and other top officers, are in quarantine after being exposed to the Coast Guard's #2 officer, Admiral Charles Ray. This is the number of people testing positive who have been near the president or at the White House in recent days spiked to 24. The latest name, senior advisor Stephen Miller, who was part of a debate prep session with the president last week. As President Trump continues to downplay the severity of the virus, the White House has become a hotbed of infection. His military aide who carries the so-called nuclear football, a presidential valet who serves his meals, plus 2 more staffers in the press office also testing positive.
Damn, COVID is spreading faster than an HBO password on a college campus. Honestly, at this point, it doesn't matter how weak America's government is, no one is invading us. I'm sure we're fine. People will be trying to avoid America. Because if you come here, you're sure as hell getting COVID. Other countries are just going to wait for America to destroy itself. But I'll tell you this much, the US government isn't the only thing that's in trouble.
A blockbuster report by House lawmakers calling on Congress to break up big tech after a 16-month investigation into Apple, Amazon, Google, and Facebook. The Democratic-led Judiciary Committee says the Big Four all hold or abuse monopoly power and need to be reined in. The 450-page report compares the industry giants to the likes of oil barons and railroad tycoons. That panel is now proposing the biggest overhaul of antitrust laws in decades.
Why so soon? Sorry, I'm a really bad fake crier, just go with me here. That's right, people. The far too rich foursome is about to be broken down. This means that if Google is split up, it will be split up into 2 companies. One that makes great products, and one that makes absolute garbage products. Facebook will be turned into a platform where old people can reunite from high school, and then block them after they find out they're no longer single. And Apple? Well, actually, Apple's perfect. Oh, and speaking of Apple.
Apple is upgrading its mask emoji. This new masked emoji covers a smile. So the facial feature matches the smiley emoji. The old mask had just 2 slits for eyes. Apple has not commented on why it upgraded the design to the one that now has a little bit more cheerful disposition.
Wow, guys, what a game changer. Here's the thing. What's going to happen in the next 30 to 40 years? I mean, since everyone's going to be wearing a mask, people who are born in the next generation are going to think that your nose and your mouth are private parts. Which means when people flash each other, they're just going to lift up their mask. This means that in Playboy, they're just going to have mask models. There's going to be masks that cover less skin and masks that cover more skin. People are going to get dress coded at school for not wearing the right mask. Oh? Okay, sorry. I'm being told I need to stop before I go down a rabbit hole. In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Now, in 2020, Columbus's statues are getting a little unsteady.
You likely learned this line in school. In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. In 2020, Columbus wore orange paint.
Demonstrators around the country have been calling for the removal of statues of Christopher Columbus, saying the Italian explorer is responsible for the genocide and exploitation of native people.
The Christopher Columbus statue in Boston defaced, specifically beheaded.
In Minneapolis, protesters tied ropes around the neck of a Christopher Columbus statue and they pulled it down.
Demonstrators cheering as they brought down a Christopher Columbus statue in Baltimore. It was then dumped into the Baltimore Inner Harbor.
I'm just going to say it flat out. I completely understand why these people are taking down these statues. The guy was an asshole who stumbled upon America and then killed off all the indigenous people. However, some people might not feel the same way.
Some here feel like they're the target of reverse racism, arguing we should learn from our past, not erase it.
First thing that I learned in 3rd grade, Christopher Columbus discovered America.
Yep.
So as an Italian immigrant, okay?
But he's telling you
this here
so
represents something to me, my Italian history.
It's terrible that they would degrade something so sacred to us.
An attack on Columbus is really a hate crime against Italian Americans.
We all remember 9/11. After that fateful, unthinkable day, you remember, right? Red, white, and blue was everywhere. In a respectful sense, this is our 9/11.
They're doing the same thing that Columbus did. They're coming into our neighborhood and taking away our heritage, okay? They're hypocrites.
Wait, but then you're acknowledging that he really did those things, but so then you're proving us Huh? Also, like, as an Italian myself, I don't really care. Like I said before, the guy was a bad guy. Nothing can change that. Anyways, guys, just before I go, I just wanted to say, and I talked about this a little bit towards the end of yesterday's video, for a whole plethora of factors, one of which being that Joe was working here yesterday on the roof, so it was really noisy and I couldn't really record. I wasn't able to upload this week's episode of the show yesterday. It's still going to come out every single Monday, with the exception of this week, obviously. But just to make that clear, since, you know, now I'm doing these daily uploads, just so everyone knows, the day that the summary comes out is not changing. It's just this week was a little crazy. Anyways, guys, that's the end of today's show. So be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already to stay updated with the channel. Have a great day whenever you're watching this, and I will see you guys in the next one.